What's up, guys? How you doing? This is Micah Dobbins, host of the Micah Dobbins Show, powered by Misfits of Media. And right now, I am here interviewing Mr. John C. Johnson. He is the author of a new book called I Hear from God, Poems Inspired by God. And you're going to hear from him right after this introduction. All right, guys, so we're back, and I'm excited, as I stated earlier, about my next guest. I'm ready for you guys to hear his story and be inspired by a book that he has written. So with no further ado, I want to introduce to you Mr. John C. Johnson. Hello, Mr. Johnson. How are you doing today?
I'm just fine, and I hope you are too.
Yes, sir. I'm doing good. Can't complain, and it wouldn't change nothing if I did. Well, I'm really excited about having you on today. I appreciate you taking the time out your schedule to talk with me as we discuss your new book. It's called Poems Inspired by God. I Hear from God, Poems Inspired by God. So the first thing I guess I wanted to know was, could you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and about your book?
Okay. Well, I grew up uh, with a mom that liked poetry, and she used to read poems to us and recite poems, and she just enjoyed poetry and singing. And
Mm.
I guess we, for the most part, picked up the same thing.
That sounds awesome. Okay, so you got to kind of learn from your mom being around her. That makes sense. That makes sense. Parents definitely influence the children. So, what inspired you to write the book?
Well, I'd been writing these poems for quite a while,
Yes,
and my wife and daughter talked me into doing the book.
sir. Okay.
Yeah, they felt that I should be sharing it and not just writing, and sticking it away somewhere.
Right. Okay, that's awesome. So you had help from your wife and your daughter. That sounds very good. If you don't mind me asking, how long have you been married?
59 years.
Wow, that is awesome. 59 years. That's
Yes,
outstanding.
yes, yes.
Oh wow! A shout out to you. Salute to you and your wife.
Oh,
Especially
I-
in today's times, young people have a hard time
yes, yes.
grasping marriage. But 59 years, you guys are really setting the bar high for our generation and setting a great example. And what was the process like when you were creating "I Heard from God"?
Well, I have been writing these poems for quite a while, and my daughter, Yolanda, talked me into doing this. She said,
Okay.
Dad, you ought to be sharing these and not just writing them and sticking them away somewhere, and
Hmm.
maybe only having a few people to read them. Some of them I used to read in a small church we were part of, where
Okay.
people just kind of tap and laugh, and that was it. But they were responsible for me deciding to do this and to go ahead and continue with it.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so it was a family affair, and I see you have a strong support group already. And what motivated you? I guess just to keep writing till you finished it. Was there anything that just kind of prompted you to say, you know what, right now is the time I want to write my book. I want to do it now, or it was pretty much just the goading of your wife and Yolanda pushing you that way, or was there some other
Yes.
factors?
Well, that was a big part of it. And I guess the other one was a little pride too. And
Okay.
I don't like to admit that, but we all have to deal with it.
Yes, sir.
And once I got the feeling that, well, maybe people will really enjoy these. So that's when I decided to go ahead and continue writing and add more to it.
Oh wow. See, that's awesome. All right. Now let me ask you, what was your feeling when you first saw the cover for the first time or you first handled your book? Would you mind just sharing your first thoughts or your reactions?
Well, I guess I was not real at first because I didn't believe that this was really happening. And
Right.
then when I did, I was going, wow,
Right.
yes,
Oh wow.
you know,
So
'cause a lot of people figuring you get to be my age and you haven't done anything, you're just about washed up. but
Right.
not so when you're dealing with the Lord. Yes.
Amen. No, that's right. That's right. If you don't mind me asking, if you could just tell us, how old are you?
I'm 81, and I'll be
Wow.
this December, 2 weeks before Christmas, I'll be turning 82.
Praise God. All right. That's all right. So you're right. I mean, to have accomplished such a feat, even at
Yeah,
81, a lot of people would have felt like, well, that's just a dream I'll never get to see come to fruition.
right.
But you've been able to bring that to reality with the Lord's help, obviously, and with the help
Oh,
of
yes, definitely.
yes, so with the help of your lovely
Yes,
wife
ma'am.
Vera, your daughter Yolanda, just helping along the way, you were able to
Yes.
get this book out to the masses, and I'm excited about it because I can't wait till we get to see what the outcome and the final thing is going to be, because I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to take an interest in this. They're going to take an interest in your book, and I can't wait to get some of the feedback to see how everybody's reacting to it. Now, if you don't mind me
All
asking,
right.
what advice would you give to somebody who may want to write a book and they feel like it's too difficult or it's too daunting of a task? What advice could you give to any budding authors out there?
I would say put your hand in God's hand,
Amen.
and He's the one that gives you the ability to do these things.
Mm,
So, and that's what encouraged me too, because I started writing a lot of them, in the church. So uh, that's my biggest thing there. Is the Lord was showing me that if you put your trust in me, it's
mm.
no limit to what you can do. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. No, that's a very good point, and that's something that I think is very much needed. We, of course, we're living in uncertain times with so many things going
Oh yeah.
on economically, the pandemic. So, what a great message for the people now. If anytime, put your hand in God's hand and trust in Him. And I think it's awesome that that would be the advice that you would give to aspiring writers and others out there that may be desiring to try to do what you have accomplished. I'm really, like I said, excited about it. It just sounded like it's going to be a real great story. I can't wait to get my hands on one. I plan on reading through the book myself and sharing with my family and my kids.
All
So
right.
it's exciting. It's definitely exciting. Now, if you don't mind, could you just share a little bit more about your background as far as the things you may have experienced or just different things that have helped that you put pieces of you in your book? Maybe it might be a story or something.
Well, I guess the big story I mentioned that I grew up in Baltimore,
Okay.
Baltimore, Maryland,
Yes, sir.
and we lived about a block away from Pennsylvania Avenue, which was a real rough street. It was one of the main streets for blacks back in that time when we had to uh, going our separate ways.
Yes, sir.
And I, well, my dad owned two trucks, and he used to sell wood and coal and some other things out of the back of those trucks. Well, he would
Wow.
drive one and he would rent the other one out. And if while I was 4, before I turned 5, my dad died.
Oh,
And when he died, my mom sold the trucks and she ended up, going out working at wealthy folks' homes. But I guess I grew up having to get out at an early age. And I started out first selling newspapers out of a store when I was 7. And then when I was 13,
yes,
I
sir.
started selling on my own.
Okay.
And I bought my first bike at that age. I had
Wow.
had one before. My brother had older. I had an older brother, 8 years older than me, and he had taken me out to the junkyard. And we found the main part of the bike, and we bought parts and put it together. And we would go to a store called Pep Boys that sold automobile things for automobiles and bicycles, motorcycles, all that kind of thing. And
Right.
we bought the stuff to put it together. So anyway, when I was 13 and I started selling papers on my own, I bought my first bike, real bike, I should
Yes.
say. And, naturally, like young kids want to show out. I got all the junk that they got back in that time put on it, horn, uh, uh, the little mud flaps,
Right.
all the other little goodies, the little fancy handle bar holders.
Yes.
And I guess I did that until I got old enough to actually get out and work. And in my summer year, when I was 16,
Yes, sir.
uh, I went to work with a construction company. Well, they said we were uh, carpenters helpers, but what we did really was go and clean up behind
Okay.
them. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
but yeah, so I did that. And I guess with the poem thing,
Hmm.
we had a thing back then that they called scoring. And a person would say something about somebody and make a rhyme out of it. And
Okay.
everybody else would laugh and say, ah, he scored on you.
Right.
And I think that kind of encouraged me with with the poems and rhyming and making people, I was making people laugh then.
Right.
And I didn't learn about the other side until later on. When I got into the church, then I realized that there was a side where God
Yes,
should
sir.
be acknowledged.
Amen.
That's how that got started.
Wow. It sounds like you've lived quite an amazing life. I mean, starting work at an early age, and especially in today's times, a lot of young people don't get to develop a solid work ethic. They don't,
Right.
and then they raise the age, like, I think like 16, and some could get a job with a permit at
Mhm.
15. So starting out as early as you did, I mean, even like breaking away at 7 and doing your own thing and buying your own bike, not having somebody just hand things to you. I know that ingrained something in your generation that is very necessary and needed in this current generation. We need a better work ethic, and we definitely need them to have a more can-do attitude, to get up on and make it happen versus waiting for somebody to give them
Yes.
things. So
Yes, yes.
I'm really impressed
Yeah.
with that. What's up, guys? How you doing? This is Micah Dobbins, host of the Micah Dobbins Show, and I want to take this time to personally thank one of my sponsors, Real Life Snacks. When you see me out and about and I'm wearing the stylish masks during the pandemic, Real Life Snacks are who are supplying the masks for the Micah Dobbins Show. They have items that'll ship the same day as long as you order by 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can visit their website, www.reallifesnacks.com, official sponsor of the Micah Dobbins Show. If you want to watch a show that is going to keep you informed, have interviews, is going to be inspiring, be sure you check out the Micah Dobbins Show. Oh yeah, and don't worry, it's also kid approved.
And then I guess when I got ready to graduate from high school,
Yes, sir.
I was a pretty good student,
Okay.
you know, but I didn't get serious about it.
Right.
And I used to let the guys that did all this talking and yakking distract me. And so uh, when it came time to go to college, if you're going, I didn't have any money, hadn't saved any money, and we couldn't afford it.
Wow.
So I said, well, maybe I'll go in the Army and save my money. And after 3 years, I was maybe save enough to go to college, right?
Right.
Well, at the end of my 3 years, I hadn't saved any money. I had listened to the older guys, and I was doing all the crazy stuff that young guys do.
Yes,
And
sir.
so I ended up what they call re-enlisting.
Wow.
And eventually I ended up staying and making a career out of it.
All right.
So, and I stayed, matter of fact, in the Army a total of 21 years. I met my wife as a soldier. As a matter
Okay.
of fact, I was in Fort Sill, Oklahoma,
Wow.
which is the city right outside. It was Lawton. I met my wife there. Now, what's interesting, neither one of us are from there. My
Wow.
wife ended up being there because she had an aunt who had been married to a soldier who died,
Wow.
and he had made his home there.
Right.
So my wife's mom had sent her there,
Yes.
because so much crazy stuff was happening in St. Louis. She wanted her to get away for a while. And
Right.
while she was there, through a friend of hers, uh, I got to meet her. And
Wow.
they introduced us. They could be, a young couple, because we were younger than them, that
Mm.
maybe, we could go out together and they could show us some things.
All right.
And that's how I got started. And before that summer was over, I had proposed to my wife.
All
We were
right.
making plans to get married.
That's all right.
And
Wow.
I looked in, we used to have advertisements in newspapers then. And I looked in and found rings being advertised. And if I say the name of this company, out of business now, so I guess it won't matter.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Okay. It was called H&R Diamond Sale.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I ended up buying a ring from them and money that I'd been saving as a young soldier.
Right.
And believe it or not, that ring stayed with me all through the military. I went to Vietnam.
Yes, sir.
Uh, I was in Korea, not during the time of the war, but I was there too.
Right.
And spent 3 tours in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah. And even my first tour, I wasn't married then. I went to Okinawa. I
Right.
was still single. But it's something how I still have it now to this
Right.
day. And I had lost some out of the set. And
Right.
I had my oldest daughter ended up working for a jeweler. And she took my ring there and they redid it. So it's got all the
Wow.
settings. It's the original one.
Oh, wow, that is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
just hearing that story, the military brought you a long way, and I want to definitely say salute to you for your service. I'm big on the military. My father was a career military man, so
Oh, okay.
we have a lot of respect for military soldiers,
All
especially on
right.
this show. So I appreciate you for your service for the country, and even being able to be around during the Vietnam War and all these things. You've lived a fascinating life, and I love the fact that the military was able to kind of bring you and your wife together through different
Yeah.
channels, but it all
Yes,
worked
that's
out.
right.
That's all right.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what brought me to Atlanta to meet my wife. My dad had got stationed at Fort Mac, and we came back. He came back from Korea, got stationed down here, and that's what brought me to
Wow.
Atlanta. And I met my wife out here.
That is something. I came back from Korea. That's when I came here. As a
Wow.
matter of
Okay.
fact, the unit I was in over there, when I got my orders, it
Yes,
said North Carolina, what it said. You'll be being assigned to 3rd Army Headquarters, which was in Atlanta, with further assignment to ROTC department at North Carolina A&T State University,
what?
Greensboro, North Carolina. And I said, what in the world is this? And I was trying to find somebody who knew something about it.
Yes,
And it
sir.
was one guy he was from, who did he say he was from? Winston-Salem, I think he said. And he
Right.
was telling me he knew about A&T and they had the big riot the year before that and all that. So
Right.
he told me about that. And then when I got here, and my orders said that you were being assigned to 3rd Army Headquarters in Fort McPherson then in Atlanta, Georgia, with
Right.
further assignment to ROTC at North Carolina A&T State University. And that's how I ended up here.
Wow, that's amazing. Lord knows you and my father may have even crossed paths. My dad was he was an alumni. He graduated North Carolina A&T. That's where him and my mom met.
Okay.
And he had been stationed. He did a couple of tours in Korea. He was I know as far as war, I think it was the Persian Gulf. But other than that, he was Army. But that's amazing right there, because North Carolina
Yeah.
A&T has a big soft spot in my heart as well, because my older brother
Okay.
attended, also my brother James
Yeah.
attended, and then he went Air Force. So that's what I said. The military is kind of a big deal in our
Yeah.
family. I did ROTC at Walter Hines Page High School in Greensboro. Sergeant Major O'Brien, that was my instructor for like a year, but I never got to join. But wow, that's amazing. Well, I appreciate you
Yes.
coming on. I want to ask what are some ways that the audience can purchase your book, or they could support? Because we definitely want them to come and support you in your new book. Yes, sir. Now, I know that I do see my notations. Your book is available on Amazon, so people can order
Okay.
on Amazon. And if you're
Yeah.
able to order on Amazon, it should also be on Barnes& and Noble website. So if you guys
Okay.
watching want to go to Amazon or Barnes& and Noble, you can look up the book I Hear from God, Poems Inspired by God by Mr. John C. Johnson.
Okay.
And then that way you can order his books there and continue to support. I just thank God for you, and I'm really excited about your book. And again, thank you for your service to this country and all that you've done and given, and allowing God to use you to write a book of inspired poems to be a blessing to the generations following. I appreciate you for that, definitely.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate you taking the time to have me on to talk with
Yes, sir. And if you
you.
wanted to give any shout outs to anybody, you can before we close out.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I have to give a shout out to the two ladies that I mentioned, my wife and my daughter.
Yes.
My wife, who not only stood behind me, but stayed with me these 59 years, putting up with me and my mess.
All right.
Yeah. And my daughter came along, and she's involved in, getting out. That's how, well, you know her, and that's how I ended up coming to the thing where I was
Yes, sir.
fully committed to writing this book.
Yes. Well, I can't wait. I'm looking forward for more. And like I said, we want to congratulate you again, and we thank you for coming on today.
All righty. Thank you.
All right. What's up, guys? How you doing? This is Micah Dobbins, host of the Micah Dobbins Show, and this show is brought to you by none other than Tees of Faith 316. When I go out and about sometimes and I'm rocking my Teens of Faith gear, people usually read the statements on my shirts and ask me, where did I get them from? So now you guys too can order your own shirts from Tees of Faith, even the official clothing of the Micah Dobbins Show. This right now is one of my favorite hoodies, Thou Shalt Not Steal, still relevant, representing for Tees of Faith 316. What's up, guys? How you doing? This is Micah Dobbins, host of the Micah Dobbins Show, and I want to take this time to personally thank one of my sponsors, Real Life Snacks. When you see me out and about and I'm wearing the stylish masks during the pandemic, Real Life Snacks are who are supplying the masks for the Micah Dobbins Show. They have items that'll ship the same day as long as you order by 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can visit their website, www.reallifesnacks.com, official sponsor of the Micah Dobbins Show.